2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we're gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying?
There's an accusation about Jay-Z and Diddy and a teenager, 13-year-old teenager. And we were speaking about just the statement.
Right.
The statement, you were saying you felt like that was calculated.
That was, the statement is something from, you can tell it was written by a lawyer.
There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
That should be outside of my mother.
Okay,
that should be calling me.
Jay-Z is reportedly losing his cool over that explosive Diddy documentary, and insiders are saying he allegedly sent 50 Cent a heated warning. Word is, some leaked info is floating around that links Jay-Z to a few of Diddy's darkest moments. And ever since that documentary dropped on December 2nd, the whole thing stopped being just about Diddy. Now, it's turned into a full-blown talk about who was standing beside him, who knew what, and who helped him keep things quiet. 50 didn't say Jay's name out loud, but if you've watched the documentary, you already know he dropped some sneaky clues, and they only point in one direction. It's gotten so wild that insiders are whispering Jay's ready to call every lawyer and pull every string he's got to shut 50 down if this documentary, or anything that follows, even suggests he knew more than he ever admitted. So what's the real story behind this chaos, and what's actually shown in that documentary?
People who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform.
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right? For 20 years, right? It's me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester. Like, maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And stop.
From the very first episode, Sean Combs' The Reckoning doesn't just tell Diddy's story, it shakes up the entire circle around him. It throws quiet shade at everyone who rolled with him without dropping names, but you can practically feel who it's hinting at. And right at the top of that unspoken list, it sure sounds like Jay-Z. The series dives deep into Diddy's come-up, how he built Bad Boy Records, teamed up with the notorious B.I.G., and turned himself into a powerhouse in music and business. But the more you watch, the clearer it gets that Jay's path ran right alongside Diddy's. And now, people can't stop asking what he really knew. Everyone knows that while Diddy was busy building Bad Boy, Jay-Z was out here stacking his empire with Rockefeller. It wasn't some distant competition. These two were moving in the same spaces, sitting at the same tables, and shaking hands with the same power players. So when that Diddy documentary dropped, it couldn't have come at a worse time for Jay's image. Back in December 2024, Jay had just dodged a major storm when one accuser suddenly pulled back a lawsuit that had his name mixed in with Diddy's. That case was dropped with prejudice, meaning it was done for good, no coming back. But even though Jay walked away clean, he later admitted that just being mentioned in those court papers cost him millions in lost deals. That kind of damage doesn't just fade away overnight, and right when he thought the mess was behind him, late November brought another legal victory.
The only one with courage to stand up is the governor and the mayor appointees, and everybody else runs and hides. Go run and hide. Because what you did, the benefits you denied this community and this city and state, you have to live with that history forever.
This time over a man who spent years claiming Jay was his long-lost father. That wild case had been dragging since 2010, and after 15 years, a federal judge finally shut it down for good, saying it could never be reopened. You'd think Jay would finally catch a break, but now this Diddy documentary has him bracing for more heat and maybe more lawsuits waiting to pop up. You can only imagine the kind of pressure he's under, watching 50 Cent stir the pot while old names and new claims start to resurface. This project could open the floodgates for more interviews, more stories, and more people stepping out of the shadows. Jay might be a billionaire, but that doesn't mean he's untouchable, not when his entire legacy's on the line. And we already saw the fallout in real time when that massive Times Square casino deal fell apart. That wasn't just about money, that was about power. At Jay's level, the goal isn't chasing another check, it's about securing influence that lasts generations. That casino project was supposed to be a strategic power move, something he could hand down to Blue Ivy and even Beyonce long after he's gone.
When Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those fucking trophies, trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
Wow. You're gonna let him say that? Jay was getting Grammys.
He had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he ain't show up.
No, he has like 20 now.
Oh, Lord.
He had like 18 since he been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
But now, with all this drama circling, those big plans might be slipping right through his fingers. That's exactly why Roc Nation teamed up with Caesars and SL Green to pitch a multi-billion-dollar Caesars Palace Times Square. The idea sounded massive: jobs for locals, community investment, minority ownership, and promises to revive one of New York's most famous spots. But even with all that hype, the plan went down fast once Broadway insiders and city reps started pushing back. They did not want a flashy casino sitting in the middle of the theater district, and soon after, a state advisory committee officially voted it down. But here's where it gets messy. That's only the official story. Behind the scenes, the timing looked way too suspicious. Jay's name has been fluting through controversy after controversy these past few years, and regulators don't like that kind of noise. No one in government or corporate circles wants to attach a gambling license, tourism money, and city politics to someone whose name keeps popping up next to Diddy's in messy headlines. It's bad optics, plain and simple. And it doesn't stop there. Even though Jay's casino dream crashed hard, his business empire is still stacked with companies and partnerships that could take serious hits if this Diddy documentary turns into a public relations nightmare. Roc Nation isn't just a record label anymore. It's a massive management and sports powerhouse. Roc Nation Sports and Roc Nation Sports International have their hands in everything: football clubs, rugby, boxing, motorsports, the list goes on. On top of that, Jay's heavily tied to cannabis culture with his Monogram brand and past collaborations. Plus, he's dipped into fashion with Versace partnerships and that Roc Nation School project where he's built up this image of being a polished mentor for the next generation. And let's not forget his newer sports ventures: electric race series, global events, sponsorships, all powered by his name and reputation. These aren't just billion-dollar side gigs, they're reputation businesses. And reputation businesses are fragile. Once the public starts doubting the face behind the brand, every investor and partner starts to flinch. Because when people work with Jay-Z, they're not just buying into his music catalog, they're buying into him. They're not just buying Jay's businesses, they're buying his story, the image, the legend, the calm billionaire boss who made it out of the streets and turned into a mogul. So when 50 Cent drops a documentary that even hints at cracking that image, it's not just gossip, it's a direct threat to every boardroom that's ever bet on Jay's clean-cut reputation. Every brand deal, every partnership, every handshake with investors suddenly feels a little shaky. But here's where things really heat up. People are pointing out that 50's not exactly far from the fire himself. Sure, he doesn't have billion-dollar partnerships like Jay, but his business game is still serious money. From Sire Spirits with Branson Cognac to Le Chemin du Roi Champagne, 50's built an empire that keeps him eating well. Add to that his power moves in television with Power, BMF, and the whole connected universe he helped create, and he's still pulling major numbers off his old catalog and new ventures. Now here's the big difference. 50's brand is being the problem. His fans expect it. They love when he tolls, when he throws shots, when he plays petty and turns chaos into entertainment. Whether he's clowning Diddy, Ja Rule, or Irv Gotti, nobody's shocked. That's his lane. And the companies that work with him, they already know the game. They're not investing in a polished image. They're investing in his attitude, his edge, his fire. Jay, on the other hand, has built his brand on being the calm one, the chess player of hip-hop. He's the guy who moves like a CEO, who's supposed to be above the noise, the one you can put in a room full of billionaires and trust that he won't spiral online the next morning like Kanye West. That's the image he's guarded for years. So if this documentary keeps growing and people start really questioning how deep Jay's ties go to Diddy's world, the fallout could hit every corner of his empire. The casino projects, sports deals, fashion collabs, school programs, all those legacy moves he spent years building. Meanwhile, for 50, the worst-case scenario is he catches a lawsuit, laughs it off, and turns it into 3 interviews and a viral meme. But here's the part nobody's saying out loud yet. 50 hasn't even gone full Ja Rule mode on Jay yet. When 50 went after Ja Rule, he didn't just diss him, he ended his career. Diss tracks, interviews, documentaries, street talk, 50 turned it into a full-blown demolition project. And with Diddy, he leveled things up even more, helping to push a massive Netflix documentary that could completely wipe out what's left of Diddy's already fragile legacy. The man knows how to turn beef into a business move. But here's the twist. When it comes to Jay-Z, 50's been holding back. So far, he's only thrown little jabs, a few interview jokes, some slick comments about Jay's business moves, and the occasional punchline. Nothing that screams target locked yet. But what happens if 50 decides to really focus his energy on Jay? Not just dropping his name for clout, but making him the main storyline. Things could get ugly fast. If that day comes, does Jay pull out the big guns? Lawyers, defamation claims, and cease and desist letters flying everywhere? Some insiders are already whispering that Jay's camp is gearing up to push that "I'll bankrupt you in court" narrative if 50 crosses a certain line. That's one way to fight back, but it could also make the feud even louder.
Or maybe Jay takes the Diddy route first, pretending 50's just noise, a PR mosquito buzzing around, hoping it'll fade away on its own. But that strategy didn't exactly work out for Diddy, did it? He laughed off the jokes, ignored the memes, and stayed silent for years. And by the time he finally tried to clap back, it was too late. It wasn't a social media game anymore. It was federal raids, court dates, and a Netflix series that tore apart his entire image. So the real question is, where does Jay go from here? Is he just caught in the crossfire, guilty by association and unlucky to be standing next to Diddy when the empire started collapsing? Or is there more to the story that's about to come to light? Because right now, the streets and the internet are buzzing with one big question. Is Jay-Z really in the clear, or is this just the calm before the next storm? The Diddy fallout is spreading fast, and with 50 Cent hinting at more footage, more names, and more details, people are wondering if Jay's spotless image is about to take a real hit. Every new clip or leak tied to that documentary sends fans digging deeper, trying to connect dots between Jay's old business ties and Diddy's empire. And some of those dots are starting to look way too close for comfort. Insiders are saying the real worry isn't just what's in the documentary, it's what could come after. Because once the public gets hungry for answers, the floodgates open wide. Former associates start talking, old interviews resurface, and stories that were buried for years suddenly look brand new again. And if even one of those stories paints Jay as an enabler or a silent partner in Diddy's chaos, the fallout could be massive. Let's be real. Jay-Z's built his whole legacy on discipline, control, and silence. He doesn't jump into drama unless he absolutely has to. But this situation is testing that cool, collected image like never before. People in his circle are reportedly urging him to stay quiet and let the lawyers handle everything. But fans online are begging him to speak up, to say something before 50 turns this into a one-sided war. And here's where it gets spicy. 50 knows exactly how to drag a story out. He doesn't need to drop all the bombs at once. He just throws one little spark, waits for the internet to go wild, then drops another. It's strategy, and Jay knows that better than anyone. So now, everyone's watching closely. Will Jay break his silence and try to take back control of the story? Or will he keep playing chess, moving behind the scenes while the world keeps guessing? Because if 50 keeps this up, that calm billionaire image might not be enough to protect Jay this time. The game's changing fast, and it looks like Jay-Z's name is back in the headlines whether he likes it or not. And here's where the tension really starts to build, because behind the scenes, the talk isn't just about reputation anymore. It's about survival in the industry. The power balance in hip-hop and entertainment is shifting, and Jay-Z's watching the walls close in from multiple directions. The Diddy situation already cracked open doors people thought were sealed shut, and now every partnership Jay's ever made is being reevaluated. Executives are quietly asking questions they never dared to before. Who knew what? Who was around when? Was it really all just business? These are the kinds of questions that can destroy trust overnight. Even if Jay never touched a single shady deal, perception is everything. And right now, the public's perception is shaky. Big investors, sponsors, and networks move fast when things get messy, and no one wants their brand tied to controversy, especially when there's a camera crew involved. What's worse is that 50 Cent is still holding cards nobody's seen yet. People close to production claim there's extra footage and unseen material that could link more big names to Diddy's empire. And guess whose name keeps coming up in whispers? If 50 decides to use that as bait for part 2 of the documentary, Jay could find himself stuck in a never-ending narrative that keeps his name trending for all the wrong reasons. And you can bet 50 knows that power. He's mastered how to stretch a story until it becomes pop culture. Every meme, every viral post, every shady caption, it all feeds into the same machine that keeps his projects buzzing and his audience locked in. Meanwhile, Jay's trying to keep his focus on the long game, rebuilding trust, keeping investors calm, and proving that Roc Nation is bigger than any rumor or scandal. But the challenge is, in today's world, silence looks like guilt, and statements sound like damage control. It's a lose-lose situation, and one wrong move could cost him way more than just headlines. It could shake the foundation of everything he's built. The question now is, can Jay-Z outplay the chaos like he always has? Or is this the one storm even he can't finesse his way out of? Because this time, the game isn't just about music, it's about image, legacy, and the fight to stay untouchable in a world that's suddenly touching everything.